Ian, thanks for joining us. I know you're busy. Let me start with Gareon Conley of Ohio State. I know he's not going to go to the draft. He's being investigated. What can you tell us about this situation of a guy, defensive back, who was going to be a first-round draft pick?
Yeah, it was slated to be likely a top 15 draft pick and now poised to lose millions, tens of millions of dollars. So a couple things are going on now. The police in Cleveland are investigating. He's slated to meet with them after the draft to give his side of the story. So that's one thing is police try to get together. Has not been charged. They're still looking into this. That is one part of it. The other part of it is teams are now investigating and saying, what do we actually know? And I know this because some teams have been calling me and saying, what do you know? Because it's just they're playing beat the clock right now. They got 48 hours or so, a little less, to try to figure out, is this someone who is a first-round pick, someone who we take a risk on in the third round, someone who's draftable at all? This kind of reminds me of the Lyle Collins situation from a couple of years ago. Was a person of interest in a murder investigation, ended up being completely cleared, but still was not drafted and ended up signing with the Cowboys. I don't know if there's enough time for teams to figure this out to come to some sort of conclusion where they could know what his fate's going to be.
Can he do an interview, hold a press conference? What advice would you give him, given the fact the timing of the draft?
Yeah, it's tough to know what the right answer and what the right course of action for him is until you know to what level he was actually involved and how much merit there is to what police are discussing. I've talked to general managers about this. I've talked to coaches about this because they want to know what he's going to do too. I would expect more information to come out today on him. There are some witness statements that end up clearing him. There's at least one that does not clear him. There's a couple that do clear him in the eyes of these witnesses. I would expect some of those to come out today and maybe change the public discourse, maybe not. But it is difficult to unring that bell because at this point, Dan, owners are involved. They want to know how safe is this person I'm picking, and for a team to pick this guy would have to be very, very confident.
Has Jabril Peppers cost himself some money?
He has, and from what I was hearing, I know some people talk about him as a first-round pick. That was not quite in line with what I was hearing. For me, it was early second, maybe mid-second. So I think that's probably where he ends up going, maybe mid to late second. And it's not, the diluted test is one thing, kind of similar story he gave that Reuben Foster gave. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is he's a great athlete. I mean, was a great college player. They don't know what position he's going to play. Is he a strong safety? Is he a slot? Is he a free? Is he a running back? So I think this sort of lack of, the versatility is good, but the lack of knowing what position he plays causes him to be more of a second rounder.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.